What's going on? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics, and up next, I just picked up this pretty big Bronze Age Marvel key. A little nervous about the packaging, but I got it for just $100. Pretty excited about it. Let's check out this book. We're going to go over values, all that kind of stuff, and if it seems like it's actually a good time or not to be picking this one up. Stay tuned. Alright, so before we get started, please remember to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. So, like I said, I just picked this up. This is a Bronze Age Marvel key, pretty big book, because this book popped up for 99 bucks. I think it was free shipping, so with taxes it was like $105 or $106. And I actually made a joke after I had won the book. I commented in one of the chats that I was in that, oh, I don't even care if they ship this thing in an envelope, you know, because I got such a good deal on it. And pretty close. It's pretty close to an envelope. I can feel there is something in there. There's some type of cardboard in there. But, you know, we'll see how this all turns out. But regardless, at $100, there was no risk in buying this book, even if it's incomplete. That's definitely something that could happen. So we're gonna open this up, and we're gonna see how it is, because this felt like I was picking this up maybe from someone who wasn't like really a comic person. And so you never really know if they know to count the pages or, you know, that kind of thing. And yeah, so there is a little bit of cardboard in here. Oh man. Okay. I'm not really sure what is going on here. I don't know what this is. Okay. So this is how it was shipped. There's, I hope the book's in here. There are 2 envelopes. So here's one envelope. There's another envelope. And then there was this piece of like a postage box, like cut up and put in there. A little nervous. So now this is a lower grade book regardless. So assuming it's in, okay, yeah, that looks like it. Assuming it's in here, that's not really gonna hurt it. You know, there's sometimes, you know, where it's like you want to be like angry that, you know, it's not shipped well, and this is not shipped well. Like 100%, this is not shipped well. But I don't know what this other book. Oh, they threw in a free book. That's what's in the other envelope. So even though it was an amazing deal, they also threw in 2 other free books. Now these are low grade books, but they threw in a House of Secrets number 102. You can see, like, you know, it's a pretty low grade book, pretty beat up. You know, probably like a 2.0 or 2.5, something like that. Again, not no bag or board. And then they threw in a Werewolf by Night number 36, also similar, you know, similar condition. But yeah, so what was the book that I got for $100? Yeah, we're gonna count the pages and everything on this. I'm gonna take it. It is actually in a bag, pretty old bag, but it is actually in a bag. But $100. Tomb of Dracula number 10. First appearance of Blade, and I mean, even in low grade, like, this is like a $350 to $450 book. So yeah, I claimed this very, very quickly, and we're gonna do a quick page count, make sure that all the pages are there first. So do a quick page count here. There should be, you know, the cover, then 8 to center, and then 8 more, and then the back cover. All right, so we've got the 8 to center, and we've got the centerfold is attached. So far so good. All right, and then we've got 8 more to the back, and then we've got the back cover. So yeah, I mean, it is definitely a low grade book. Let's see, is it attached? It is attached. Yeah, I mean, the cover is fully attached at both staples. There is, so, you know, you can see there's definitely some wear there, but the cover is fully attached at both staples. You can see it's a little bit loose. That's why you can see the bottom pages out, like it'll slide a little bit. And there's a tiny like spine roll on it. But there's like, you know, there's a crease, there's some writing. Scott Rowe was one of the, maybe one of the original owners of this book. But still, I mean, fully attached, if I got it pressed, like, I'd still get like a 3. I'd say it's pretty solidly a 2.5 to a 3. Like here's the back cover. It could use like some cleaning and that kind of stuff. And yeah, dirty and all of that. But I mean, there's lots of pressable things. Let's see if I'm going to show up. Like lots of pressable things that are on here. But not a lot of those like great color. But there's definitely like the lower grade stuff. Like, I mean, it's rough edges. You've got creases in the corners. I mean, this isn't a 9.8 or anything by any stretch, but like $100, for a Tomb of Dracula number 10, first appearance of Blade, right on the cover. I mean, that was a pretty awesome deal. So I am really happy with that. I don't know if I'll get it graded or if I'll just end up, kind of like relisting it raw or what I'm gonna do with it. But yeah, the fact that it's fully attached is a big deal. And then yeah, could definitely benefit from a press, that kind of thing, if I decided to go that route. But yeah, so now that we've seen the book, I'm actually going to change the screen a little bit, and we're going to go over prices, if it's a good time to buy this or not, and kind of what's going on right now with Blade and the MCU. All right, so before we get into the values of the book, if it's time to buy this book or not, what's going on with this Blade movie? In the beginning, this movie was originally intended to be coming out in under a month. It was supposed to be coming out in November of 2023. Then it was 2024. Now it looks like it is February of 2025. I think they have it as a release of Valentine's Day, which is a little strange for a likely violent vampire movie, but hey, can do whatever they want. But yeah, I mean, they've had the lead actor cast for a long time. I mean, a very long time. They have been talking about filming this for a very long time, but there's just been constant delays with this movie. They lost their director, and I wouldn't be surprised if, with everything that's going on with the MCU, that they maybe are doing rewrites and all of that. But yeah, you can see here, Blade was first pushed back to September 6th of 2024 from its November 3rd, 2023 release date. But then most recently, it was delayed to February 14th of 2025. This movie is not coming out anytime soon, and I wouldn't be surprised if that date even gets pushed, especially because we've got the writer's strike and the Screen Actors Guild strike, and so who knows when these are actually going to start filming and if the script is even ready and done yet. I mean, it's just, there seems like there is a lot of question about what's going on with this movie, but it is still on the schedule. It has not been removed from the schedule yet. So this is still a movie that is planned. I mean, he was teased at the end of the Eternals, which was, I don't know. I wasn't real happy with it. It felt like it was just kind of like ham-fisted, kind of like thrown in at the end. It didn't really fit well with the movie to me, but they did tease Blade at the end of the Eternals. And then I feel like Marvel has really been kind of dropping the ball with a lot of this stuff. We've had a lot of characters that get introduced, like Shang-Chi, you've got the Eternals, you've got Blade, and then you don't hear anything about them for years. And it feels like it's the same thing that's going on here. But when you're talking about actually purchasing the book, maybe that is a benefit. There's going to be a lot of corrections in the prices of these books, and let's take a look at them, because I think honestly it seems like it might be a pretty decent time to pick them up. Now, obviously, if you if you come across a copy like I did where it's $100, I mean, yeah, you should buy that book regardless. It doesn't really matter. That was a great deal no matter what. But we've got GPA here, and so I've got Tomb of Dracula number 10 pulled up, and you can see, if you're talking about a 9.8, this is a 5-figure book. It's going to be probably dropped some since then, but still probably in the high 20s, maybe like 25,000, 28,000, something like that for a 9.8. But let's go all the way down to where, this book is that I got. And I think it's probably somewhere in the 2.5 to 3.0 range. You can see, I mean, very recently, October of 2023, we had a 2.5 sell for $320. We had a 3.0 sell for $465. So very little risk. I had very little risk in picking that book up, even though I wasn't confident if it was complete. If you look at a 0.5, I mean, a 0.5 in February of this year sold for $280, and even a 1.0 in August, relatively recently sold for $350. So the base value of this book is very high. I mean, even if, prices have come down since February of 2023, base value for an incomplete copy is still probably around 200, maybe a little more than that. And so this one being a 2.5 to a 3, it's probably got a value somewhere around $350 to $450, somewhere in that general range. But then the question is this a good time to buy this book? So it's a little tough down at the lower grades because they just don't sell quite as often. But you can see kind of what this book was trending. And so, yeah, back in the early, 2012, 2014, before the new Blade stuff was announced, really cheap, under $100 for a 2.5. But then you had that Blade announcement, which I think was somewhere around 2018, 2019. I think it was in 2019. And so then you had this spike in prices. But even these prices should still probably be like the baseline for this book. And so if this returned all the way back to these prices, which this last sale is kind of around there, I mean, that tells me that if we're back around 2019 prices for this book, that is a pretty good time to be picking it up. To me, that means this book has probably overcorrected, that people have just gotten so negative on it because of what's going on with the MCU and everything. I think it's probably overcorrected. And honestly, and I'm not just saying this because I picked up a copy. I'm not trying to, if you watch my channel, you know me, I am not like someone who comes out and pushes books. I'll tell honest truth. Even if it's a book that I have, if I think that you shouldn't be buying it, I say you shouldn't be buying it. But this seems like a pretty low risk book to be buying right now. Sure, things could always go down further. It's possible. But the downside risk seems pretty low at these price points. This last sale at $320, September $350, July $350. I mean, somewhere around $300 to $350 for a 2.5. I just have a hard time thinking it's going to go much lower than that. And then we go up to the 3.0 and we take a look at these prices, and very similar. And what I'm often doing with this is just kind of trying to look at the somewhat general trends for the book. You can see if you looked at this trend line for this book, it's a little bit below where you might expect it to be. And that's often what I'm looking for. That's often where I think, okay, it's probably pretty safe to buy this. It could drop further, but my downside risk is relatively low. Now, if we go up to, say, some books that sell a little more often, like you can see 4.5 sell a lot, 5.5 sell a lot. And when I say that, I mean that this little number under here, that's the number of copies that it's sold in that time period. You can see if you go down to these low grades, these numbers are pretty low. You don't have a lot of sales in those lower grades because usually people are probably just selling those books raw. They aren't really bothering to get them graded. But as you start to get up to mid grades and high grades, the book is a lot more expensive. People are more likely to get them graded. So you can see, 21 sales. Let's see, what is this? This is in the last 12 months. So at an 8.0, 29 sales, 7.5, 27, 7.0, 23. So, and then 5.5, 21. And so it looks like kind of the most common grade that's selling here is an 8.0. So if we take a look at that one and see what it's done, you can see how you get a lot kind of more data points for those sales. And if you look at this trend line, what it was doing before, and then you bring it right in line with that. And now it seems like it's kind of flattened out a little bit here. Again, that's what I'm saying. It feels like this is probably a pretty reasonable time, pretty safe time, low risk to be picking this one up. I also have the Go Collect open over here. And let's see. So it looked like 8.0s were selling the most. And you can see that that's right around where we have the most graded copies. 8.5 has 446. 7.5 has 396, 8.0 has 376. So that's why we're seeing so many sales in this type of grade range in the 7.5 to 8.5, because that has the most copies that are graded on the census. You can see there are a lot of copies of this book graded on the census. There are 4,399. This is from 1973, relatively early Bronze Age. It's nowhere near what you see with like Giant Size X-Men 1 or something like that, but still quite a few copies are out there and available. Now down in the grade that my book is, 2.5 to a 3, this is in the bottom couple percent of books. And that's because when you get into the Bronze Age, people are generally keeping relatively good care of their comics. So most common grade is this 8.0 to 9.0, but I mean, an 8.0 to a 9.0, you're still spending a lot of money. I mean, this is an 8.0 right here, and last sale, $1,339, $1,288, $1,200, $1,700. I mean, somewhere in the $1,300, to maybe $1,400 price range. I mean, that's what you're paying for an 8.0. And so if you want to get something more affordable, you go, keep going down, and you can see that even down in these lower grades, it's still a relatively expensive book. But from what I can see, with looking at a lot of different grades and kind of like what these general trend lines have done and where this book is right now, it seems like it is a pretty safe time to buy this book. It seems like the risk is pretty low to pick up this book right now. Now, yeah, I mean, maybe they end up canceling the movie. They end up canceling this movie, then sure, prices will probably drop more. There's always a risk to that. But this is a pretty big Bronze Age key. This is a very popular character from the Wesley Snipes adaptation of this character. But in general, this just feels like a low risk buy to me. All right, hope you enjoyed that video, got an idea if it's a good time or not to be picking up Tomb of Dracula number 10. If you want to wait and see based on what's going on in the MCU or what your decision might be with that. I have transferred the book now to a nice Mylar, so it looks all all shiny and everything in the Mylar versus the this was the bag that it was originally in. So a much better presenting bag and everything makes a big difference in how the book looks. But yeah, again, super happy with this. If you enjoyed this video, if you'd like to see more content like this, please hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell. I've got more videos over here if you'd like to watch some of my other videos. Subscription button is right here. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, I would really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video.